but in the last 35 years, this journal has achieved international recognition, but also became one of the most trusted periodicals of plant sciences and biotechnology. As you already know, Vegetos is associated with the Society for Plant Research, or SPR, which was also started in the year 1988. The society was established with a goal to provide a platform to researchers in various disciplines of botany, plant sciences, microbiology, environmental sciences, and biotechnology, and also for publishing their research in the journal Vegetos, which was associated with it. And Vegetos, as you already know, now is being processed and published and marketed by um, Springer Nature, which is a global publisher, and this has helped to strengthen its global authorship. Beside this, another major activity for the society is organizing conferences and workshops to facilitate scientific discussions, exchange of views, and interactions among scientists working within these areas. For example, the SPR recently organized an international conference in collaboration with Ramnaran Ruya Autonomous College in Mumbai. And this not only proved to be an excellent scientific gathering, but got an overwhelming response from scientists from many different countries. Vegetos is publishing research and review articles now in all branches of plant science, as well as associated branches of sciences like plant biotechnology, nanotechnology, microbial technology, as well as genome sequencing. There's also been special issues that are focused on medicinal and pharmaceutical biotechnology as it relates to the plants. Having said that, I would go ahead and say that Vegetos is bigger and has an even greater global presence now, more than ever. And I do wish the journal continued success. And I welcome you all here again.
Thank you very much, Professor Paramita Basu, for your kind words.
Thank you.
Now, before we start the actual discussion agenda-wise, let me give a brief remark about why this webinar has been organized. Initially, as Dr. Basu already explained, that the society and the journal was established in 1988, long back, and I am privileged to be its founder chairman. And ever since, the journal is showing an exponential growth throughout in all spheres. But that is not the end of the story, because with the help of all our esteemed editors, the awardees, the reviewers, and all distinguished scientists from all over the world, this journal has to step forward and will have to attain still greater heights. So I can say that this is the beginning when we can start, or we can consider it as a ground level where from we have to launch the journal to the greater heights. Now this meeting, the purpose of organizing this webinar this morning and for our Indian counterparts this evening is to interact with those scientists who have been considered, recognized for their uh, global research, for their international research in the past. All those scientists who have been awarded by the Society for Plant Research for their academic contribution in the past, the editors who are already with Vegetos during last few years, and in the current year, the reviewers who have been doing a meticulous job for bringing quality to all research papers which are submitted to Vegetos by sparing their valuable time, the editorial board members who are presently involved, or those to whom we wish to induct either as subject editor or at different editorial positions. So this meeting has been arranged to interact more with the scientists who are either residing in the United States of America or in the nearby areas, because there is a time zone difference. And whenever we organized a meeting from India, it was a big problem because of the time zone, that the US scientists or the scientists from nearby countries or from the Western countries, they could not come to the platform and we could not interact with them. Incidentally, this time I am in Texas for my personal visit, and I thought that let us avail this opportunity of interacting with the scientists who are in the western part of the world. As you know, Vegetos, after its start in 1988, uh, showed stepwise growth. Of course, it was not so rapid, but slow and steady win the race. That was the concept. And as on today, this journal is at a respectable position. And after Springer Nature joined us as our co publisher, the journal has shown much better results. We are receiving good research papers, we are receiving good review articles, and all our esteemed editors, they are doing such a wonderful job despite their busy schedule, hectic schedule throughout, that they are sparing time to invite reviewer and getting uh, the improvement in the research article submitted. The biggest threat to the editors in the present time is to find potential reviewers. And that we all understand that in the busy world, everybody has got their assignments, and it is very difficult to steal some time to review a paper. But this is an academic commitment. When we take over the responsibility of an editor, or we accept the invitation for reviewing a paper, I think that becomes very important, that we should justify with the quality of article, quality of manuscript, its scientific content, and the worth for publication in Vegetos. If we are focusing on all these things, issues, then there is no point that Vegetos will attain much more new heights in a very short span of time. Now, always we discuss the issues in our executive body council, and we try to induct the editors from specialized subjects as subject editor, and with the passage of time, the subject editors who had been supporting throughout, they are promoted to the editorial positions by virtue of their great commitment to the journal. So that is the protocol which we usually follow with Vegetos. And today we have focused certain agenda points, as you might have seen in the mail, as well as it has been displayed on the screen. So we will seek the opinion of all our esteemed scientists how to go forward, how to step forward, and what improvements are needed. Second thing which I wish to emphasize, of course, that is a part of agenda we shall be discussing later, that we wish to expand this journal to the western parts of the world more rapidly, with a view that very good quality research in various fields of botany, plant biotechnology, molecular biotechnology, algal biotechnology, cyanobacteria, nanotechnology, and other related fields in agriculture, they are going on in many countries which are in the western part of the globe. So this webinar is focused on various points which we shall be discussing with an open mind, and whatever suggestions will be there, these suggestions will be taken into account very seriously, and we will put up the suggestions before our executive body meeting for approval and for implementation. So this is how we have noticed that in Scopus, its uh, impact score is also moving high. It was initially zero point 0.5, then from zero point 0.5 it went to 1.1, then 1.5, and now it is 1.7. Once upon a time, it was having an impact factor from Thomson Reuters, but somehow because of their changing policy or because of considering citation index or citation of the papers, which perhaps we could not follow much. So we are trying very hard to get the impact factor back into Thomson Reuters or Clarivate, and Springer Nature is playing a very pivotal role in doing all these things and in helping Vegetos in attaining new heights. Now, with these remarks, I welcome you all on board on behalf of Society for Plant Research and the Vegetos Journal, which is now 35 years old, or you can say that it is 35 years young, because we never use the word old. We are in the process of growing. So it has grown by 35 years, and it has to grow further till it becomes mature and reaches to new heights. So I thank you very much, and I am not sure whether Dr. Mamta Kapila from Springer Nature has joined us or not. In case she has joined, I will welcome her, and then we will proceed for different forum like editors and awardees forum. They will put up their views, then reviewers forum, if at all they are there, and authors forum who have been contributing to this journal in the past few years. And this is the program which we have framed. And with these words, I welcome you once again on board. Thank you very much. I hand over to Dr. Paramita Basu to call upon Dr. Mamta Kapla in case she is there.
I think you are muted.
Yeah,
I don't see her here yet. So
she is here.
no, I don't see Dr. Kapila in the participant
Anyway,
list.
she can join us later. So we can now proceed with the editors and awardees forum. And I can see two very important awardees, Professor Talvinder Singh Kehlon, uh, who has been awarded for his wonderful contribution to science, then Professor M.S. Reddy. So we would like to seek their comments about the society and Vegetos in general. Thank you. Professor Kehlon, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are audible.
Uh, yeah, I'm flattered, but I don't think I deserve any of the accolades. Part of the reason is, like, in the past, I've been editor of several, rather than naming, but lately the USDA has made hopes due to certain internal problems with the government. Actually, not with the USDA, actually with the Army, where they were sort of a, what do you say, they got the bugs not directly to them, but they put the bugs on the vendors. As you order something, you get the bugs. So we are all hit by that. And now I have refused to be sure I would review anything, but I've cannot be an editor because it has gone through several hoops before you get approved. It's only for a year. In the past, it was a credit because you are doing a voluntary work, but now it has become very difficult. So I'll continue to review. And then normally, sure, my reviews are, I think they're fair, and sometimes they're harsh too. I think that's how the scientific literature has maintained its sanctity, because it's a voluntary, it's a anonymous, and many times is to the point. Thank you very much for recognizing me, but I don't think I needed anything. But at the same time, I'm flattered to be a part of your journal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kelo. Now I would invite Professor M.S. Reddy and for his comment and for giving good words and his blessings to the journal and society as well.
Good morning to everyone, particularly Dr. Bhatnagar. I live in Auburn, Alabama, belong to Auburn University. I, the one first recommended this Vegetos journal to Springer when Dr. Bhatnagar asked me to write a good recommendations. So with that, I think I've seen very good progress, but whether directly or indirectly, I never participated in submitting paper or reviewing any paper or having any interaction with the editors or sub-editors or co-editors or any authors in this journal. However, there's a column in the agenda since Bhatnagar right now staying in Texas. He mentioned one agenda point. If there is a possibility to collaborate with other societies. I am also a founder and a chairman of Asian PGPR Society for Sustainable Agriculture. Our mandate is to promote biofertilizers, biofungicide, bioherbicide, and micro biostimulants. And we call under all those categories under PGPR, nothing but plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. We now call buzzword microbial inoculants or biosolutions, biostimulants. So we also have a mandate in our society. We have 1,500 plus life members in our society. We do organize international conferences in every Asian country every 2 years. And we have several chapters. For example, India chapter, Malaysian chapter, Indonesia chapter, Kazakhstan, wherever we organize our international conference in that particular country as a host, they become a chapter in our society. We have several requests across the globe. We're almost 40 plus years in this society, requesting to start a new journal under Asian PGPR Society for Sustainable Agriculture. But as we growing and aging and funding problems and several issues within the workforce, I have not attempted to start it either. And I have written letters to Springer and other famous publishers across the globe. Everybody expressed interest to come up a new editorial board. We are in that process since I know Dr. Bhatnagar for a long time, and he has done excellent job to promoting Vegetos. My only suggestion, as he mentioned in the agenda, let's have some MOUs with other societies, particularly in the western part of the world. Our society is being registered here in the United States and also start in India and other countries. So my submission to your body or your advisors or your executive body, maybe in the near future, if Vegetos interested, we can join as a sub a journal category under your Vegetos because you already had established links with Springer. Any new journal starting now, it is very hard to reach the scale what people looking for. So I'm very happy if you're all interested. We can join your Vegetos and have a MOU how we can help my society people could help your Vegetos and Vegetos could help us. And also someday we can also meet, one of our international conferences, your Vegetos society could join. We normally have a 2 or 3 days conference. And the immediate one is going to happen this September in Bangalore. That is our 8th Asian PGPR National Conference. And the year 2024, we're having an international conference in Taiwan. So one of this nearby conference, the visitors could participate, at least few of your executive members. We can support directly or indirectly, financially or other moral way. With that, that's all I have. So take this point into consideration so we can have more interactions in the near future.
Thank you very much, Professor Reddy. And it's a wonderful proposal, and we will certainly put it up before the editorial board meeting when I go back to India. And we shall be having a thought with the editorial board members, and also will have a word with Springer Nature authorities so that we can work together as far as publication of journal is concerned. And it will naturally strengthen both the societies, and the journal will pave a way to achieve a global status further. Thank you very much, Professor Reddy. Now I can see Professor Edward Smith and Professor Sagbo, Jonas Sagbo is there. In case they have got any suggestions, I request them come forward.
I think Dr. Smith just left the meeting.
Dr. Edward Smith was there. I don't know.
Looks like he's not there.
Oh, yeah. He was having some network problem. He has just informed. So as soon as he reconnect, he will be on the air. Professor Rao or any other editors, they have got some suggestions to make on this international platform. Professor Rao.
No, I think, sir, we should encourage the reviews from the specific subject that we have been discussing over the last 2 editorial meetings. If we can invite these experts to submit their subject-specific reviews, that will enhance the scope of the journals in terms of the progress that we have made in the area specific. So I think that as we have already informed the awardees, at least they should make an effort to give a overview of their area. So at least the journal will be able to publish a good review out of those specific areas. That should be first priority, at least whom we are contacting in the western part of the country, globe. So we will be able to increase our outreach to that part of the world also.
Yeah.
And as I can see that we are now inducting a lot of young people who are in the mid-career to join the editorial systems. So they will be able to encourage the postdocs and the young mid-level workers to submit the research papers. Certainly, I think I see there is a lot of scope in terms of getting more papers from the western part of the world. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Rao. Now, Professor Smith is back on the air, I think. So I would invite Professor Smith to kindly put up his views.
Yeah, sorry about that network problem. So I didn't hear anything like the last couple minutes, but Yeah, I think to get into the kind of the Western particular market, we just need to kind of advertise. And as you were actually saying, that the impact factor of the journal is actually getting better and better, and it's increased quite dramatically in the last year. And so I think that just that onto itself, more recognition is going to come onto the particular journal. And I think that will kind of advertise itself. But anytime that we send out information, as editors, I think we probably should put that maybe we're an editor, like on emails, on Vegetos, and so that would also help to kind of promote the particular journal. And I've said this in the past. We have friends and other colleagues that we do research with, and we can advertise kind of with them. So I think just advertising kind of locally, and then also at international conferences.
Yeah, that is what Professor Rao was also talking about, and I thank you, Professor Smith, for your kind words. Now, as far as promotion of submission of research articles and review articles from our esteemed colleagues, either in the editorial board or in their contacts, that will help the journal a lot. Because if we focus, or if we receive good review articles from the subject experts who have done devoted research, dedicated research on a particular area, that will give more references to the young researchers and will help the journal to get good impact factor. It's a wonderful idea Professor Thomas has endorsed, and I would request him also to disseminate the information related to Vegetos and to promote the young researchers and the researchers of his age group and his experience to kindly contribute review articles and research paper to the journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I do have to leave. I was just typing up a message. Just before I leave, I was really enjoying this discussion. So many good ideas. Before I leave, I would just like to add an idea because I really have to run. But my idea was, if we can, I know in my area of pharmaceuticals and pharmacology, the one idea that I had is if we could have sections dedicated to phytopharmaceuticals, where there's an area of overlap between plant science and different ways of into medicine, or like my area is infectious disease, so antimicrobial from plants, that's something I'm really interested in. So if there's ever any issue on that, I would definitely be interested. I know a lot of people that I can reach out to, so putting it out there.
Yes, Dr. Basu, thank you. And we have a sub-editor on pharmacognosy, and particularly for pharmaceutical, we have to focus on the plant products. Of course, these plant products, they are applied as medicine on any animal whatsoever. And if they are used to cure any disease, either in animals or in human beings, but they should be the product of a plant body, then we always publish such type of researches. And we have got separate sub-editor, Dr. Jonas Segbo, for looking after it. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Dr. Basu, despite your classes and busy schedule. I am obliged. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So I would request Dr. any editor who wish to put up his views on this platform. Dr. Jonas?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So to publish, they can authors can actually publish two different ways in Vegetos: open access and kind of the traditional model. Is the open access becoming more popular, or?
Yeah, we have, as per mandate of the Springer, we have got both modules because the journal is in hybrid mode. So we publish it in under open access as well as under non-open access. So because there are some countries who cannot afford the publication fees put up by Springer Nature, so they can go for non-open access. But in case they are either life member or annual member of the society, they can receive the PDF of their paper through our society. That is the advantage which has been discussed and mutually agreed upon by our editorial board and by the Springer Nature, that in case the corresponding author or any of the author is a life member of the society or an annual member of the society, the journal in hard copy is posted on our website vegetosindia.org, and from there they can access their papers because they are provided with user ID and password, so that they can access their own paper if they are life member or annual member of the society.
Yeah.
That is because it will avoid conflict of interest with this Springer Nature.
Right. Okay.
So we can provide them the back issues also. We can provide them the back volumes at a very, very nominal fees.
Right.
That is there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Jonas Segbo is welcome, Dr. Jonas.
Yeah, Dr. Vadner, Prof. Vadnora, thank you very much for this meeting. I'm speaking from South Africa. With respect to my side, the problem that we're actually having from my side, it's got to do with the reviewers. And at the last meeting that we had, I think I made mention that we should try to, see whereby we can compensate the reviewer in such a way like the way MDPI journal, they usually do, whereby if you, they do give you a voucher or something like that. For my own case now, if I want to publish in MDPI journal, I do save those vouchers because I do review for them a lot. So it kind of, reduce when if my student want to publish in that journal. So I just use the voucher, to subsidize the amount I'm supposed to pay. And that, it could go a long way in, attracting more reviewers so another point that I want to make, it's a very good idea also. I share the sentiment of Professor Randy, whereby we need to, expand our base to, Western world. The journal shouldn't be local. It should, we need to now expand our, our tentacle. From my side here in South Africa, I've actually, promoted the journal a lot here. Most of in my university here, most especially in Cape Town here, most people now know more about Vertigo because when I tell them about Vertigo, they go. We have a list here in South Africa whereby we have what we call a Department of Higher Education list. They just go there to that list and see if the journal is accredited. And most certainly, I was so happy that the journal is included in the list. So most of my colleagues now, they kind of asking me more about the journal. So and it's kind of giving me a very good impression that the journal is really doing well. So apart from that, from my side, I think everything is going on well, except the reviewer challenges in reviewer. So if we can look for ways to attract reviewers, compensate them a little bit, not just have a ways to attract them more, I think the journal will go forward more than what where we are at the moment. So from my side, I think everything is okay, everything is fine. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Jonas. This is the very important point that you raised. Finding reviewer, how to attract reviewer is a point of discussion which I would like to seek the opinion of all our esteemed scientists who are on the board this morning. Because for one paper, because there are two schools of thought, the author's thought and the reviewer's thought. The authors, they are always in hurry to get their paper published, get it reviewed, and should be online as early as possible. The second point is from the editors, that for one paper they are inviting reviewers, and from my office I have seen that more than 15 reviewers, they have either declined or they have not entertained, or once they have accepted, they have delayed processing the paper. And ultimately the authors, they start making different types of queries, and very often and rarely, of course, they go for the withdrawal of the paper because of the delay in publication. So sometimes if a very good paper is withdrawn, then it also affects the journal. So the author does not know that how many reviewers they have declined or how many reviewers they have not responded timely. But the editors, they are at a state of fix what to do with such cases. So in the last meeting, when Dr. Mamta from Springer was there, Professor Rao also suggested that can we invite the names of reviewers from the author. So on this point, Springer nature is very clear that if we invite reviewers' name from the author, they will be biased. Suppose Dr. Jonas is submitting some names of reviewer, he will understand that my name has been recommended by Dr. Jonas. Therefore, I should give a positive comment. I should not keep him offended, and so that will affect the quality of the journal. That was one point. Another point is that we should take few references from the author, so that in case the normal reviewers do not respond, we can send them additionally so that their viewpoint can also be taken. So the August speakers can put their views on it. How to get good reviewers and how to attract them. What shall be the best way?
See, I'm going to leave after this because, see, my manager, my wife promised our niece to take a biryani. She goes to the Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, and so that's like 70 miles away. But most, I will make a comment on that. Most journals ask you to give names of few reviewers, and normally I would pick not all of them, one of them. But in my opinion, the reviewers, I don't think they bias the paper that much, because like even my own professor who in Lawrence Berkeley, he worked for 42 years. And I said, what do you think of scientists? He said, they're very mean people. And I said, what do you mean? He said, look at reviewers' comments. So my reviewers, I would say I would not bias whether I know the person or not. Even in our own situation where somebody asked me to do anonymously, then said, can I put your name on? And I said, no, you asked me for anonymity. So that's how things go. Once you put a reviewer's hat, you just, I would say, do to the point, and normally it is harsh. That's how I come about. And the worst I have done is even my own professor's paper I rejected. That was hard, even though he thanked me for it. All right, I have to leave. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Professor Kalom. Before you leave, I have one word to say, that you have to make compliance of the manager, of course, because that is always very safe. Second thing, we can invite the reviewers, and we will consider this point. Thank you very much for joining this morning. Thank you,
You're
Professor
welcome.
Kalom.
You're very welcome. Enjoy the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I think this is a good idea. We can ask the authors to submit a maximum of 5 prospective reviewers, and the editor should cross-check whether the suggested editors are from the field or not, and only then decide among them if there is a suitable reviewer.
Yeah,
Rather
that's a
than
good idea.
blindly simply sending to all those one of them.
Thank you,
Thank
sir. Dr. Durga, do you have any comment to make?
Yes, I have a very basic comments. I reviewed. First of all, I thank you for inviting me to this meeting. This is a very ideal platform for discussing all these things because we all belong to the field of science. So the thing is that I reviewed paper for very many number of journals like plant journals, plant cells, plant biotechnology. Also, I got a chance to be. I'm honored, and it is my pleasure to be a editorial board member in the Vegetos journal. But the one thing I want to discuss is that the time frame of the date of submission to the date of publication, that is the most important thing I observe for this journal, because most of the reputed journals, I don't tell about the impact factor. That is another issue that can be addressed separately. But the main thing is the time of date of submission to date of publication. That should be considered. That should be that is a debatable topic, because if a person is submitting a paper in a particular journal, he should expect his paper to be published or rejected within a limited frame of time. If it is not done, then he's because all of you know that this is in this competitive world, everyone needs to be published, need the publication very fast for their students, for their own reputation, for their own promotion. Everything depends upon publication in the field of science. So if the publication period is taking too long, then it is hard to survive in this competitive era. So my suggestion is that what Dr. Jonas and what Dr. Singh has suggested, that the author should recommend 7-8 potential reviewers from their field, and the editor should decide a blind review with one of these suggested reviewers, so that it can be done fast. Because what Professor Bhatnagar has said, it is absolutely correct that to find a potential reviewer in a particular field in this busy schedule of everyone is really, really difficult. I have faced a lot of problems in this because I have reviewed several papers, edited several papers of Vegetos and other journals. So I know this problem. So please take this issue very seriously. Otherwise, there will be a lot of problem in the future. So this is my sincere request to Professor Bhatnagar.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Durga. We had been looking into this issue, and many a time, some of the authors themselves, they suggest some names of the reviewers, and the editors, they keep it blind. And the paper is sent to those scientists. Because the review system in Springer Nature is a blind peer review. Means the author does not know to whom the paper has been referred. But the reviewers, they do know that from where this paper has come. So we will also request Springer Nature to make it both way blind. Means
Yes.
to the reviewers, it should not be clear that from where the paper has come, and the author should also not know that where the paper has gone for review. So it should be a both way blind review that will help a lot. And you know that on every publication, we are having the date on which the paper has been received, it has been revised, and it has been accepted. So the date is always there, but the concern of all our esteemed colleagues is that there should be a time frame. Initially, we have given the time frame of 3 months, but with the passage of time, we have observed that more than 10, 11, 12 papers, they have been declined by the reviewers, or if they have accepted, they don't have time to review, and ultimately we have to uninvite them after some time. Second thing, as an editor, of course, there are certain editors who are belonging to a particular subject, and they do not have contact with the scientists of other area. But once we are editor, It means we are open to send invite to the reviewers of any field whatsoever. As editor-in-chief, my office is looking after or inviting reviewers for various fields. Because as a botanist, as a biotechnologist, or as an agriculturist, we always know that who is working in this particular area. So it is not difficult to find the names of reviewers in any field of plant sciences, agriculture, or plant biotechnology. So I have seen that very few editors, they normally decline the editorial assignment because this is not my field and I cannot find reviewers for it. So it is my humble request that if by default some paper slightly away from their area of specialization reaches to them, they should kindly make an exercise to invite review, because the editor-in-chief office is inviting reviewers for more than 100 papers almost every alternate month. Presently, your journal has received more than 600 papers in this calendar year. So it's a very good submission rate. And out of this submission rate, we from the chief editor office, we are either rejecting the paper at the first sight if the paper is not properly submitted, it has got basic lacuna, its language is poor, and its scientific contents are not worth publishing, then it is rejected from the chief editor's portal itself. Sometimes our editors, they also reject, and some of the reviewers, they give uh, a balanced comment. Say the paper has got very poor presentation, but in order to keep safe, they give that it requires major revision. So another reviewer is giving the decision as reject. So my humble request to all our esteemed editors is that if the major revision is there, they should kindly go through the comments of the reviewer. If in these comments it has been observed that the paper need more time to revise or more it has got more shortcomings, then it need to be rejected. So our rejection rate at the moment is 67%. In Vegetos, the rejection rate is 67% at the moment. So I should not promote the rejection, but while rejecting a paper, the editors and reviewers, they are supposed to give a proper justification that why this paper has been rejected, what are the shortcomings, what is missing in the paper, because otherwise the authors will make an appeal for re-review, or they will request the editors to kindly bring it back into the queue, and that is a different situation. So this is what we wish to express. Now other editors from US also is there. Some Dr. Ramvant Gupta is there. You would like to make some comment?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for your kind invitation. And I'm very thankful to you, Professor Bhatnagar. This is my first meeting. I'm not much aware about all the procedures, but I will try my best in the field of plant physiology, particularly in photosynthesis. If there is any paper related to the photosynthesis, I will happy to edit it, and I will try my best for this journal. Thank you very much, Professor Bhatnagar and other colleagues.
Now we have our very senior editor who had been the Vice Chancellor of Jammu University, Professor Manoj Dhar. We would like to seek his opinion about the journal. Professor Manoj Dhar. Welcome,
Yeah, good
Professor.
evening and good morning to all the colleagues, respected Professor Bhatnagar Sahab, and all the distinguished colleagues who are here. It's indeed a pleasure to be here on this platform, and let me thank you for giving this opportunity. Uh, I would say that the as we have been discussing earlier also, many of the points which were raised today Uh, we have been thinking about this and making efforts, and one of the major issues which you have highlighted is definitely the reviewers. And many a times there are uh, lots of times it has happened with me as well, that the reviewers have declined to actually review the paper. And and also sometimes when you invite them, they take a lot of time to respond. So I think in that case we do send the reminders, but maybe I would also suggest that if the time gap between the initial invitation and the reminders that is reduced, that will also help, because we would know quickly whether the person is interested to review or not. In one paper I found that the reviewer responded after about 20 days, so which also wastes a lot of time. So maybe if when we send an invitation, the reminder could go after 2 days, and then again maybe another 2 days, and then final, then we could either decide uninviting the reviewer, or we can move ahead, whatever will be the decision. So that may also help, because I think one of our colleagues just said that it's important that we reduce the time gap between the initial submission and the decision, that is rejection or acceptance or revision, whatever is the decision. That phase has to be maybe monitored carefully. Second point which I would suggest, because you were asking whether how we can attract reviewers, I think in one of the journals, not maybe it's a group of journals, there they offer you access to their journal for 3 months if you are actually reviewing a paper. So maybe we could think in terms of such a thing, that providing access to the journal for a month, if not for 3 months or something. Although I understand that this is not perhaps the policy of Springer, because they have a different policy. But then this is one of the ways by which you can also get feel attracted, that if you review a paper, then you will get access to at least Vegetos. They could get an access for 1 month in terms of their back issues and the current issue and so on. So that could also be one of the things by which we can uh, maybe motivate the reviewers to review the papers. So rest, I think it has to be a team effort, and each one of us has to be sensitive about these issues which you have raised. So we will try our best to follow that and see that how we can make this journal reach greater heights. Thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you very much, Professor Dhar. And at one point, I have to mention that there is an automatic system by Springer Nature on editorial manager portal, that if you are inviting a reviewer and if they are neither accepting nor declining, then they send rapid reminders to the reviewer on their own.
Okay.
But once the reviewer invited by the editor has accepted to review, normally Springer Nature do not uninvite them.
Right.
Because you have invited them. So in case they are not responding in time after accepting the invite, only you can uninvite them and can invite a new reviewer, because that is unethical. Say you have invited one reviewer, they have accepted, and they are not making compliance within the required time, then the Springer portal will not uninvite them. Only the editor can uninvite them, or they can send an email to them.
In that case, is it possible that at least Springer will remind the editor that so many days are passed and the person something like to the editor that is everything fine, because the person you have invited, even if they don't directly uninvite him, but can kind of a check, because many a times editor will not know we have invited somebody and we don't know how much time has elapsed before the person is not responding. So something is
No,
there.
we
Is there
get
any
weekly feedback.
Sir, editor-in-chief is at your service always, because we, besides inviting editors, I within a week time, my office usually send a reminder to the editors that this paper has got 2 reviews. You kindly submit your decision, or it is already getting late, or the reviewers they are quite late in
there's a
responding.
weekly
You
there's
kindly
a weekly
unadvise.
status coming. There's a
Sir,
weekly status coming anyway. So I think that will help us. That will help.
sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
So that is wonderful. I received a message from Dr. Mamta Kapila. She has lost the link somewhere, but I have sent her again, and I hope that she will be joining very soon with certain clarification as far as Springer is concerned. Can I now invite others? Dr. Abhay Pandey, our executive editor, is here to kindly make his comment. Dr. Abhay Pandey.
Good evening to respected colleagues in the Western world. Sorry, good evening to Indian colleagues, and good morning to our respected colleagues in America.
Thank you.
So I was listening the deliberations of learned professors. So definitely what I feel, some very important issues have been raised regarding reviewers. That is because as an editor, I am also facing the same problem, because if we invite, we do not get response. So in this respect, I wish to refer to the deliberation of Dr. K.S. Rao. He has also told that few scientists' names should be invited, and it should be at the discretion of the editor to call any one of them after checking their credentials. So that can just provide a reviewer list. Secondly, just I recall some deliberation by our learned professors that we need to promote the journal in the Western world, because more often in India or in Eastern world, people look for the content from Western world. If we are receiving little bit more amount of materials from the laboratories of the learned professors from the Americas, Europe, obviously it is going to strengthen the backbone of our journal, which for the survival and for strengthening the journal, Professor Bhatnagar is just fighting tooth and nail, and it is his effort that has made journal from you can say 1988 till date, in last 35 years, to reach a very high level. So this is my suggestion based on integration of the thought of our colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Pandey. And I can see that Professor Anne Hirsch is also here. And she had been one of the awardees during TASAD India when we organized an international conference at Delhi in NAS complex. So in case she can come over here, we would like to seek her comments. In the meantime, Dr. Mamta Kapila from Springer Nature, executive editor, has joined. Welcome, Dr. N. From Professor Bhatnagar. Can you hear me, Dr. N? Hirsch?
She's muted. She has to unmute.
Yeah, your mic is mute, Professor N. Anyway, we have Dr. Mamta Kapila for her remarks. Dr. Mamta.
Hello, sir.
Very good
evening.
Very good evening for
good
India
morning.
and good morning for US colleagues.
Good morning. Yes, definitely. Good morning, Professor Reddy. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good evening to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So since I joined just now, Dr. Bhatnagar, could you please let me know if my comments are needed? I mean, if there is anything wherein my comments are needed?
Yes, can you remain here online for some more time? In the meantime, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
call
sure. I'll be
upon
here.
Professor Ann
Okay,
Hirsch,
okay.
who has been prestigious awardee during our conference at Delhi. Your mic is mute, Dr. N.
She's trying to.
Yeah, we cannot hear. Your mic is mute. No, not yet. Yeah, please. So in the meantime, let me brief Dr. Mamta. Dr. Mamta, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can.
Actually, there are certain points on which your clarification and your comments are needed. One thing that it should be a both-way peer review, means the reviewer should also not know that where from the paper is coming, who is the author, in order to avoid any biased decision by the reviewers. And because for the authors, the names of reviewers are not known because it is a blind peer review. But for the reviewers also, the name of the author can be kept hidden. One point. Another is that can we invite 5-6 reviewers from the author and can cross-check their specialization in order to find a potential reviewer out of them without bringing it into the knowledge of the author. Third point is that the time frame for reviewer can be reduced. It has already been done, I think. It is now 16 days. We can further reduce it manually if we want a quick review on the paper. And Professor Reddy has placed one suggestion that because of the prevailing conditions of Springer nature, he is not able to bring out the journal of PGPR under the banner of Springer Nature directly. So can they proceed for their journal as a sub-journal of Vegetos under sub-journal category? These are few quick points on which the things may need your suggestion.
Sure, Dr. Bhatnagar. Probably I'll have to ask you the questions once again since I'm driving right now.
Oh,
Yeah, but then for the first review, yes, we can have the journal converted to double review from a single review. That can surely be done, and we can have that done. You know, it's just so that the identity of the authors as well as the reviewers are not known to anyone. Yeah, so that can easily be done. Then I could hear the last question wherein
thank you.
Professor Reddy has expressed the interest to publish the journal from PGPR under Vegetos. Yeah, so this is something because then Vegetos is a society-owned journal, so this is something that has to be taken a call from you. So this would need, a decision perhaps from your end, and Springer would be open to explore that possibility with Vegetos, if at all you're interested in that. So the kind of business model, the evaluation, who would be the decision maker, how would you incorporate and integrate PGPR into Vegetos? So all of that needs to be decided by Vegetos and the editorial board of Vegetos. So once you are, once you decide on that, then Springer can actually go through the proposal and see. So nothing, which would actually hinder Springer's interest. So we are open to exploring this option. You can send us a new business proposal about your new plans, and then we can explore that.
okay. Thank you. I think
Yeah.
Professor Reddy.
And then there was,
yeah.
I think there were
Please.
two questions. Could you please, Could you please, repeat those for me?
Blind reviews, the suggestion from the authors for their 5-6 reviewers.
So we can ask the authors to suggest reviewers, but then we cannot make that a mandate because, as per
We are not.
yeah, so as per GDPR policy, we cannot impose this on authors. They shouldn't be forced to suggest, and this really shouldn't be a condition to submit their paper. But then we can surely make it an option if they would want to suggest few reviewers who may not be, used or sent out the same manuscript, but then this can in turn help us to expand a panel of reviewers. So this can be done, but then as an option, not as a mandate.
No, as an option. And the other question is reducing the time.
And I think,
Yeah.
rightly said by Dr. Mamta, the editors themselves, while making an invite, while submitting a paper, the author, they can give few references in the last. And
Right.
it is up to the editor whether they use them, those references or not. They
Yeah,
can keep
and-
them on hold and can use
Right.
them as and when required. Yeah.
Right. So they can add those names to the panel of reviewers, to the list of reviewers that is there on the editorial manager already. So
Yeah.
this, in turn, over a period of time, would help us expand the reviewer base.
Exactly.
So the reviewers may not be promptly utilized, but then they can surely be sent out a manuscript for review sometime later.
And that will strengthen our database also. For that
Absolutely.
particular subject, we can use those reviewers for other papers as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is it. So thank you, Dr. Mamta, and we shall be back if there is any query for Springer. Now, in the meantime, Professor Ann Hirsch, Professor Ann Hirsch is here.
And
Welcome, Professor
can
Ann.
you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you
good.
now.
Actually, I haven't done a Zoom call in months
Yeah.
because, the University of California is wide open. And
It's very
so
pleasant
now
to
I've
see
lost
you
my skills.
after a long time. Yeah. So
Good to see everybody.
yeah, thank you very much. And Professor N, this is a webinar because presently as a founder, chairman, and editor-in-chief of Vegetos, I am in US. So I tried to avail this opportunity and to interact with my fellow colleagues who had been awarded by the society for their recognition, who are either on the editorial board panel, they are reviewers, or the other entrepreneurs whosoever have wanted to join this webinar. So we were talking about, just in a background, we were talking about the upliftment of the journal Vegetos and to introduce it to the Western world in order to get more visibility and to get a global status to the journal. And the involvement of more and more scientists, particularly from the Western world, to submit very good reviews on the subject of their expertise as and when they get time, and to promote the other researchers, young researchers, and to introduce this journal to the researchers so that they can submit more papers to Vegetos. It is a 35-year-old society, as you already know. While you were in Delhi, along with your husband, I think you remember the award ceremony in NAS Complex, New Delhi. So we all are looking forward to your comment and how this journal and the society can be made familiar to the Western world. Professor N, please.
Thank you. I'll try to do my best. I mean, it's been with the pandemic and everything, I'm sort of also behind schedule and getting a lot of things done. So, as we all are.
So because you had been editing a few journals, you are also keeping very busy, I suppose. But Vegetos is looking for your very active support and cooperation.
Okay, I will do my best.
Thank you. Any other Dr. Sandhya, do you want to make some comment?
Good morning and good evening to all of you. Good morning, Dr. Bhatnagar. And I thank you for giving me opportunity to speak. Actually, I have been doing this as a subject matter editor. I have been associated in this. And the same problem which has been, everybody has said that reviewers are not responding, and many a times they respond, but they just keep quiet. They agree to review the paper, but they don't, after that, they just kind of forget. So probably the reminder to them is important. I mean, how does it go? Probably it goes from editors portal, or as we get the weekly status, probably they also get some kind of if they do not get some kind of reminder, there should be a provision so that they get the reminder that your review time is this much, and then it is due in short due course of time, so that we can enhance the or reduce the time to get their response. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. N, I have one very small question. As an editor of few very internationally renowned journals, how do you meet this challenge of getting good reviewers? This is a very potential point which is coming up, because there is a shortage of reviewer and they usually decline, and the editors are facing a lot of problems. How do you address this issue?
This is it's a major issue everywhere, because a lot of people are basically, ever since the pandemic, are in many cases retiring. And some of the best reviewers were the people who really did of that age. And so we've lost that cadre of people. And at the same time, we haven't really been able to convince younger people to join this group. And I think that's one of the things all the societies are trying, at least in the United States, are trying very hard to do, is trying to get more and more younger people, involved in the societies, so they can also become, reviewers and actually authors as well. So that's one of the things that's generally going on. So that's what we have to think about first. And I don't know if you have been thinking about that, but it's got to be more broad reaching in terms of age groups.
It's a wonderful suggestion, and we simply could not look into it, because the young researchers who are at the start of their career, they might show much enthusiasm in reviewing the papers as per their expertise. But sometimes if we are getting review articles from very senior scientists, we need to send them
I understand.
to a still senior one, to a still senior scientist, because a junior or a young scientist cannot review the work which has been carried out by a very senior professor.
No, I'm actually trying to encourage more younger people to actually also publish.
That will be very good.
That,
wonderful.
Because that's important. If you publish yourself, then you know the importance of reviewing.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have kept it on record that the younger reviewers, they should be identified, and more papers should be given. All our respected esteemed editors who are present over here this morning, they can keep it also in view that we should identify the middle-age group scientist or the mid-career scientist who can do much better justice with the quality of paper. Thank you, Professor N. And can we go to the next point quickly on our agenda? That there are two important advantages, as we were talking about, that either we should promote annual members or life members in the Western world. Now, the point is that what is the advantage of becoming member or getting associated with the society or with the journal, either as annual member or as life member? So we have already mentioned in the agenda that we have the fellow awards and different other types of awards, and all our life members, they are eligible to become fellow of this 35-year-old society, or they can be considered for various types of award, either through nomination or by, sending the nominations through somebody else. Secondly, that all such life members, they will be receiving an authenticated certificate duly signed by the authorities of Society for Plant Research and Vegetos, along with the authority signatory of Springer Nature. The annual members, they will also be eligible to become the editorial board member or the reviewers, and also they will be receiving an authenticated certificate duly signed by Vegetos and Springer Nature signatories. So these are two important points which I wanted to raise. And as senior scientist, I would request the editorial board members and the respected awardees of SPR to kindly disseminate this information to their younger colleagues and to the other colleagues. And it is already available on the website that what are the mileages which a life member or annual member will be getting. This website is mobile friendly nowadays, and we can get every information. Now, another point is to work out the possibility of developing memorandum of understanding between the scientific societies of United States of America and Society for Plant Research, particularly for holding scientific meetings and conferences, and for nominating scientists of eminence for conferring awards in near future. So the scientific societies who are to whom our esteemed scientists are associated, and these scientific societies are based at US or in the Western world, they can promote or they can proceed for developing a memorandum of understanding between SPR and their own society, and for finding out the possibilities of a jointly organizing a conference or a meeting, or for nominating the awardees. As Professor Reddy has already mentioned, that if SPR and PGPR society, they join hands together, they can organize certain activities in US or in other countries, either in the Asian subcontinent or in US itself. So if any other society is willing to develop memorandum of understanding, SPR is open to it, and we can find out the modalities and can proceed for developing such MOU. Then if any other suggestion by the elite group of learned scientists is there, on this point, Professor N, do you have some thing to point out on MOU? Dr. N? Hello? Never mind. So now because we are running short of time, and it's very important for everyone who are working, particularly in US, because it is the office time. So
today is Friday.
Yeah.
Today is a holiday for us.
Okay, fine. So this is the right time to organize webinar.
Today is a Veterans Day in the United States.
Okay.
But
So,
today it's not holiday here. Everywhere, not in holiday.
Okay. So now I would request Dr. Mamta Kapla to kindly make a concluding remark as far as Springer and Vegetos Association is concerned. Dr. Mamta, please.
I think she has left.
Maybe because she has got
she was
some
driving, so.
Yeah. No, otherwise also she's having some medical problem at her home. So she informed me that she'll be joining for some time.
Okay.
So if there are no suggestions, we will keep all these suggestions of esteemed scientists on record, and we will proceed accordingly. Our office will take care of it. And the proceeding of this very important, valuable meeting will be circulated to all esteemed colleagues. And now I would request Dr. Durga Madhav Sen to extend vote of thanks.
Good morning and good evening to all. First of all, I am extremely thankful to Professor Subodh Bhatnagar for inviting me to this meeting. And distinguished chief guest, esteemed professor, and my beloved colleagues. I am Dr. Durga Madhav Swami, working as a project scientist in University of Missouri, Columbia. And I am particularly working on plant pathogen interaction, and I am trying to engineer the susceptibility factors of the rice while interacting with Magnaportha oryza. Previously, I was working as a postdoctoral scientist in University of California, San Diego, with Professor Julian Scudder. So, first of all, we are all here because of Professor Subodh Bhatnagar, and I sincerely thanks to Professor Subodh Bhatnagar for inviting us all to this beautiful interacting session, and this meeting. So that we can learn a lot of things, and we can discuss all these things, issues regarding the journal publication, editorial reviews, editorial boards, all these things. Okay. Next, I sincerely express my thanks to Professor M.S. Reddy for his comments on the journal publication and editorial review, or all these things. Next, I express my sincere gratitude and thanks to Professor Abhay Pandey, Professor Thomas Smith, and also Professor Anne Hiron for their sincere comments and on this very important issue on the publication in the Vegetos journal. And last but not the least, I express my sincere thanks to all my colleagues, to all my editors, and all my reviewers who has helped and given their valuable time for this webinar, and also for the review process and for the editorial process of the papers and in the Vegetos journal. And thank you all, and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Mustafa Jibrin was also online. If you want to make some comment, of course, after vote of thanks, that is not required. But I could see Dr. Mustafa. In case you can hear me and have some comment, you kindly make a quick remark. Dr. Mustafa Jibrin.
Good morning from Washington State. Thank you for inviting me to the meeting, and I've listened to your deliberations, and I see that a good commitment has been made to try to improve the system, the journal especially. Hopefully, all the suggestions here put into actions, and we see where we move from there. So thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you all, and have a very nice day. Thank you for joining us this morning, Professor N, Professor Smith, and all other esteemed colleagues. Thank you very much, and we will keep interacting.
Thank you.
Interacting. Thank you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.